attack things, gain experience, all of a sudden something comes up and I can upgrade something. Or I get Wizardry 8 with like stats that make, like they have two stats that look the same, but they're obviously different things. And you have hundreds of stats to deal with. You know, just lots of number crunching, just so you can get the perfect party, just so you can start. And there are people who love that, but they're not making those kinds of games anymore. So on the one hand, you have people who are underserved because they don't have simple games that they can play. But on the other hand, the major publishers are no longer creating really complex games on that level. So I know of one indie developer who came up with was an RPG where it went back to that, where they wanted it to be back to the way things used to be. And I don't know how successful it's been, but I mean that's just another untapped market. People who are no longer being serviced by major publishers because they need to sell more copies, so they get rid of the harder stuff.
Well, also, I would argue that the entire gaming market is underserved. I mean, do you guys feel this way? I mean, I feel like a lot of the games, I mean, for every Grand Theft Auto, like, I feel like Grand Theft Auto is such a great work of art in so many ways. Or for every, I mean, even Oregon Trail, you know, I mean, people, we all laugh because you remember that game. It was fun to play. I mean, it's fun to now.
The Facebook app has an Oregon Trail that's actually doing pretty well, as I understand it. There's a lot of people on Facebook. Yeah, there's a hunting section.
It's like shooting the rabbits.
Yeah. But you know, there's, I mean, like you were saying, and others have said, I mean, there's so many first-person shooter games, but there's such a world of other stuff that you can do with games. And I think one of the advantages that we have is that so few ideas have been tapped into and explored. I mean, I think what's great about Grand Theft Auto is not necessarily the level of, you know, gore and violence, which is fine, but, you know, the anarchic aspect of it. You can do anything. You can just stand there and watch the seasons change, you know, and you can you know, explore this entire world, and it all sort of seamlessly fits together in this cool way. And I think that is what, you know, made it really the killer app for the PlayStation. You know, I think what will make the killer app for you know, the new generation of Xbox 360 or even, you know, Nintendo Wii is going to be some interesting idea that's not necessarily going to take advantage of the polygons. It's going to be an original idea that is going to be something that someone hasn't thought of before.
I think you're probably right. Just because I remember, I think over the past few months I've been looking through PC Gamer magazine, and maybe there have been a couple of games where I looked at and thought, wait, that sounds exciting. Like just this last issue, Bionic Commando. But then I thought the only reason I got excited about that was because I remember playing that on the NES. So I was kind of wondering how they were going to remake that. And then after that, it was just kind of like, okay, well, maybe they might mess it up. Maybe it'll be okay. And then,
yeah, yeah. I want to go through. I want to go through one more quick question here. If you guys could, just in a nutshell, give kind of a business model, just in a couple sentences, either your business model that works, or one you think would work really well for people starting up. Just as quickly as possible. And Mike, you gave the download.com PC download one, which you can stick with it, come up with a new one.
I guess it would be just games that people want to buy.
How do you get them out? How do you get them out? How do you actually make the money doing that?
Well, in the PC download space I know, you take it to all of the publishers and you do non-exclusive deals with everyone you can, and send them through their beta process, and if they come up with complaints, fix them.
And actually, it's probably a good idea for student projects even. I would think that you work, was it 10 weeks, 10 to 15 weeks on a project, you flesh out a game pretty well, maybe spend some time after that to polish it up a bit, put it up onto the balls, you can sell it.
So it's PC games, C, C++, DirectX or OpenGL.
Oh, it's just like how would I go about developing it?
Yeah.
Well, I've always been a Visual C kind of guy. I've never actually used VI. I make fun of people who do. But I'm really not. I'm just kidding because I don't know. But anyway, I just use Visual C, DirectX 8. They have a little component of DirectX 8 called D3D Sprite, which just lets you do 2D games. Really easy. And that's about it. I've been programming for so long though that I have so much spare code built up. It's probably easier than somebody who starts from the beginning.
I agree. Once you start building up that asset, once you start knowing how to structure your game engine, if you build your own engine. It just becomes easier and easier each time. My formula is, right now that I'm betting on is Flash, XNA, Peer Publishing, Xbox Live. See how it does on Flash, and what if Xbox gets good.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Flash, casual games development Flash, use Google AdWords. You don't have to worry about platform, anyone can play them, and that's
That
That's
is insane.
that's really a good issue. If you make a game that's reasonably fun, it will get picked up and you'll see a ton of traffic to your own website. So I know several people who've done it. And, as long as the game's even if it's just good and not great, you'll still probably see a lot of traffic.
Since I'm trying to make games that run on Linux as well as Windows and Mac, I try to use cross-platform tools as much as I can. So rather than DirectX, I'm using OpenGL and SDL. And I can't use Flash partly because even though Flash exists for Linux browsers, it's buggy. So I'm actually looking into using Java to create applets, although I have to look into how if that's actually something that's people use. Otherwise, I'm actually creating games that are something to download, which I'm thinking in terms of business model. I want people to play it, and when I go to a website and I'm looking at a game, I would really like to be able to play the demo in the browser. So I'm actually rethinking my business model in that sense. But in terms of development, I try to use as much cross-platform tools so it's easy for me to then take my game and put it onto a different platform and not have to either outsource that work or do a lot more work just to create a second version of the game on a different system.
So you have some kind of executable you upload somewhere.
Right now my beta is it's kind of like a zip file, not actually zip format, but it's tar.gz, if you're familiar with that. But I upload that and then I have to get them. Eventually when I have an actual installer, but for just beta testing, they just go and extract it, play the game, and I just point people to it. When I release it, I'll actually have it on the website and just kind of since I'm also targeting Linux, there's dedicated Linux game-related websites that I can go to. And also Linux, like Linux.com is a news site for Linux, and that would probably just be a huge thing where they can just say, hey, there's a game for Linux, because it's so rare an event that it's big news when there's something out there. And then so there's that. There's LinuxGames.com, there's hackingpenguin.org, which is the Linux game zone. So there's a few places I can go that basically if I go there and say I've made a game that runs on Linux and it's a pretty decent game, I can get a lot of coverage just from having it on the front page for a little while. Which Mac users see the same thing. Apple picks your game up as game of the month or something like that, or puts it on a list of games. People who have Mac releases of games, they've noticed an upswing in downloads and sales.
Sorry.
Too much water.
I know.
Okay, well let's go through one more little round, kind of lessons learned, and then we'll questions and answers. So start thinking of questions to ask these guys. And let's start. Mike, you want to?
Yeah, I guess the biggest lesson I learned is that the time you spend on a game doesn't necessarily have anything to do with how well it will sell or how much money it will make or how much critical acclaim it will get. So I would definitely try to pick projects really carefully to make sure that I'm not stuck going for 3 years.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. It's just, exactly what I was going to say. Do a small project. I mean, simple is better. A lot of people like the KISS principle. Keep it simple.
I would also agree with the small project thing, although at the same time, I've been working on a simple project, and I realize now that I'm at the tail end of it, I've actually been working on it for over a year just because I've been dedicating at most a couple of hours a week. I'm running a business, but I'm kind of developing as if it's something on the side when I really should be pushing more. So that's a lesson. It's just I need to focus more on development. Because I'm running my own business, I don't have a boss telling me, you need to do this, you need to be at your desk for 8 hours a day. It's up to me to decide to do this. So there's a lot of self-discipline to worry about. And I guess another lesson is there's a lot of things I did on my own because I wanted to learn how to do it so that I didn't have to pay someone else to do it for me. So I tend to like with forming my business, I looked all that up. I didn't actually talk to an accountant or a lawyer and have to pay them to do it for me. If I would have done that, it would have been done months ago.